welcome back to the channel. The Nerds Nothing. I'm Jim, and let's get to it. So today we're diving on into the DNF Book Tag. So let's go. Question number 1 in this tag is, have you DNF'd any books this year so far? And if so, how many? No. New year, new me, and my DNFs don't count, right? If we're talking about last year's though, will we look it up just to have a... I don't think it was that many. It was a few, but not like a colossal amount. Only 3, which were The City and the City, because it's a book in translation and it's not great. Lessons in Chemistry, I found it a bit boring, and Everything I Know About Love was... I'm not a super self-help book. And then the outstanding one for many years is Priory of the Orange Tree, which I don't know what's going to happen with that one. Question number 2 in this tag, has your tendency to DNF books changed over the years? If so, in what ways? I don't think so. I used to be more inclined to sort of read books and then become not interested, but now I sort of force myself to finish them because it's like, well, I've paid money for this book, I'll see how it ends. If it's not my cup of tea, I'll get rid of it. And generally what I do, it's a bit of a cheats way to do it, but it's gotten me through some books, is either look for it on YouTube as an audiobook or look for it on Audible and see when it's cheap and finish it that way, because sometimes I find it easier listening to a book than actually reading it. And like, that's the same, like sometimes it's easier to read a book than listen to it. It's a bit of a double-edged sword, but yeah, that's my method. Question number 3 in this tag is, what is your main reason for DNFing a book? And I feel like it's when I can't connect to the story or the character. Like, the story can be crap, but I can like the characters, or the story can be like really great, but the characters are crap. One of them has to be enticing enough and intriguing enough to keep me going. Or like, if they're both crap, I feel like I can't really do it. And the only way to do it is sort of the method from before, is sort of getting it in an audiobook. I think the one I found most recently where I was like, I don't really care for the characters or the story is, oh my god, I can't remember what it's called now. I thought it was okay, it just wasn't my cup of tea. There's a book I read last year. It's a lot of people's favorite book too, I would say. But I don't remember what it's called off the top of my head. That's how memorable it was, guys.
The next day.
The House in the Cerulean Sea. I hated the main character. I was like, he was just as deep as a 2-dimensional shape. Hate is a strong word. I just didn't thought he was too intriguing. I thought the kids were more intriguing than anybody else, and I feel like we didn't really get to spend that much time with them because it was mainly this like Arthur character. It's like, okay Arthur, what's so special about you? Fucking nothing, and you were an asshole for a little bit of it too, so I just don't care. Didn't care, but I had to finish it. I had to finish that one to see what would happen, and I just feel like, okay, question number 4 is like the longest question of my life. Do you find that you're more likely to DNF a certain format or genre than others, or that it depends on how the book came to your attention? What is this question? I feel like I'm more likely to... I'm lagging in real time. That is a confusing question. I think I'm more likely to DNF a book in a certain genre, really. I don't do well with non-fiction. Non-fiction's not my vibe. Question number 5 in this tag is, what book did you give up on after reading a few pages? I feel like it was June, even though that's not necessarily true. I read like a good half of that book before really giving up, but I feel like it was very dense in story, and like I wanted to understand it because like my brother explained it to me as like a Game of Thrones in space, and I was like, that seems like my vibe. But it's kind of like that, but it's like less about that. I don't know if that expands over the series. But I did end up finishing it, but I did cheat it, which was read half of it and then read the next bit on Audible, because yeah, I don't know if it's cheating. It feels like it's not. I have been told recently that listening to a book is cheating, and I was like, I don't really see it that way. It's just, you know, absorbing the book in a different format. Like, you can sort of be listening to the audiobook and doing some other stuff, or just read it. Like, I feel like it's not cheating, but, you know, I welcome that challenge of defending audiobooks. Question number 6 in this tag is, what book did you give up on even though you were close to the end? I don't think I tend to do this. It doesn't seem like something I tend to do. Like, it's normally very early on that I give up on it. Like, it's either like I give myself the rule of 10 chapters in or page 50, whichever one comes first, or at least that was a rule I gave to my younger self. It's not so much a rule that I have now, is when I can give up on a book, because then by that point in time, you know enough of about the story and the characters that you can decide, yep, I'll ride with them to see what happens, or like, nah, nothing's happening, I'm sick of it, I'll get out of here. So I don't tend to do that. I feel like there's a lot of books that I've pushed my way through, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. But it's not something I, like, yes, when I was a kid, but I can't even remember what that book would be. It would probably be, the closest one I can probably remember is like Blood of Olympus, but again, I was like a good like third into that book. Like, I get a good amount of like into a book, but it's normally something, there's like a key something that happens that makes me want to like yeet myself out of that universe. It's normally like so problematic. I think with Blood of Olympus, it was Leo being a little bitch about Calypso to Percy, and I was like, right, get out of my story. This is not the Leo I remember. Question number 7 in this tag is, what book did you stop reading because you simply lost interest or you just weren't in the mood for? And that was Insurgent. I don't know. I feel like Divergent ended perfectly. There didn't need to be a follow-up. It was just kind of like, this happened. I guess like it ended up being like a revolution at the end, so it did need to have like another part of the story in there. But I feel like Insurgent starts off so boring in comparison to Divergent, so I just gave up. Although I feel like I do need to return to that universe and finish it off, because I do have it somewhere. It's somewhere on here. I don't know where, but I do need to finish it, because one of my friends was talking about Divergent more recently, and she's like, I can see why we froth this as kids. Like, it's kind of good for what it is, but I'm concerned about that middle book, because I know a lot of people do not like that one, and then a lot of people don't like the end one. To be honest, I think she set up the end one as a very poor example of what was going to happen. If you have it from the main character's perspective the entire time, why in the third one would you split it between her and the love interest? You know, either her, you kind of pretty much know she's going to die. Like, I would have it so abrupt that it was just from For's perspective. Like, it's kind of annoying, because, like, also don't want to read it because kind of know what the end is now, too, because it's been out for so long. But hey, never say never. Question number 8 is, what book did you stop reading, or you nearly stopped reading because the characters were unbearable? And I almost stopped, like, nearly stopped reading What If It's Us. Like, those characters, I feel like they just weren't good at communicating with each other, and, like, I was just like, this is so frustrating, because, like, literally, like, I think I was going through something very similar at the time of reading it, of like, these two characters were just not communicating, and I felt like in the relationship I was at the time of reading it, I was the one that was like trying to communicate, and they were just not. So I saw a lot of like self-reflection in the characters, even though both characters were kind of just like not communicating well. I felt like I was over communicating with this person I was with, and it was very like, I saw her in one of the characters in the book, and I was like, this is just painful. But yeah, almost stopped reading that one. And there's a sequel to it too, I think, and I was just like, this is just maddening. Like, you're just trying to get more out of these two characters, and they're kind of like not that deep. They're not that deep. The story's not that deep. It's just a contemporary, like, love story. Cool. Question number 9 in this tag is, what book did you stop reading because an element of the book or the entire book irritated the shit out of you? Now, we have already mentioned it, but we will mention it again because it kind of wasn't really part of the question before. But we stopped reading The Blood of Olympus, which also we've gone back and read that series now. Why are we talking about myself as if we are we? We are not a hive mind here, but I stopped reading Blood of Olympus because of Leo and because I felt like his character had dramatically changed from what I had seen prior to that. Like, I just felt like, I think I remember explaining it to one of my guy friends at one point, and I was just like, it's like he met a girl and lost his mind, and then they're like, that tracks. I'm like, does it though? Does it? Like, I feel like it doesn't. I feel like, well, I don't know. I'm not a man. I don't know. Why would a man be there? But yes, I have recently gone back and reread it, and it's not as good. It's not as good as the Percy Jackson series. Like, but yes, it's great because it continues that sort of theme, and like, it's got some interesting story to it, but it's just not as good as the original. And I would even dare say that the stuff he's writing for the new cast, it's not as good as what we've got in the original story. Like, it's still good, and I will still read it because it's Percy Jackson, and I love Percy and that whole world and like Greek mythology, the way that Rick writes it, but it's just not as good. I think he just really hit the nail on the head with the Percy Jackson series, and I think a lot of people would maybe agree with me on that. Question number 10 in this tag is, what book did you stop reading because you were hit with a reading slump as you were reading it? And that is Priory of the Orange Tree. I think I got confused, and it was sort of led me into the slump because I was like, I don't understand what's happening. I tried reading it, I tried listening to it, and both times I was like, I do not know what is happening. One of my friends recommended that I should read it like chapter by chapter, but in between those chapters be reading something else because it does take a while to digest the story. And also, I'm small brain sometimes, so I feel like that's like plays into why I was so confused. But we'll see. I do have it. It's on my shelf. I have the other one that she wrote. Actually, yeah, it's right there. You can probably see the end of it. I have the other one she wrote. I have another one she wrote as well that's smaller. So I need to read it. There's dragons in it. Why I mean, there's a dragon on the fucking cover. There has to be a dragon in it. I need to get through it. We will get there. Maybe one day. Hopefully this year? I don't even believe it when I'm saying it. Question number 11 in this tag is, what book did you expect to not like and to DNF, but you ended up liking and completing it? Which is Outlander, which is my mum's favorite series. I do want to finish it at some point. I've only read the first one. I have all the others because I read the first one and she got so excited she bought the rest of them for me, which, you know, we love mum for that. I do want to read the others, and like, I just didn't expect to get through it so quickly because they are chunky fucking books. Like, the first book is like, I don't know, it's like probably one of the longest books I've read. I didn't expect to like it, but you end up flying through it because Claire and Jamie and the other characters are just so interesting to read. I would say Claire's probably like my favorite to sort of like from her sort of perspective, which I think the book is third person. So like, it's just like her and everything she goes through is really interesting, and like it like the whole like mythical but like the historical factor of it is so interesting to me. I really did not expect to like it. I expected to read the first one and be like, yeah, that's okay, whatever. But yeah, I got to get back on that train. I mean, like, it goes to show, like, just so many books, not enough time. Question number 12 in this tag is, on the flip side, what book did you expect to love and finish, but either ended up hating and finishing or not finishing, which was Frog Kisser. I expected it to be a little bit not so, like, young. I expected it to be a little bit more, not adult, but like kind of like on the higher end of like children's writing, but it ended up falling on the lower end of it. Like, I felt like I could read that to like a 10-year-old, maybe below that, and they would enjoy it. But I was like, what the fuck is going on here? I just didn't end up liking it. I finished it, but I didn't like it. I think the cover reeled me into thinking it was going to be intriguing, and especially the name of the book as well. I'm like, ooh, 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 ooh. But no. Question number 13 in this tag is, what book did you stop reading because it was a case of wrong book, wrong time? And that was Scythe. I ended up picking up later and really liking it. I stopped reading it because I was going through a death in the family at the time, and it was about death and killing people, and I just couldn't really deal with that factor at the time. So it was an extreme case of wrong book, wrong time, but like it ended up later down the track. I ended up picking it up again where I sort of left off, and it ended up being, I really like it. I've got the rest. I've got some of them somewhere. I think it's on this side. I don't know. But I have the rest. I just need to read them because I know it gets good, but I know it also is a little bit not good as well from what I've heard from some friends. So we'll have to see about that. Question number 14 in this tag is, what book did you read because of the hype but you ended up DNFing? I did finish this one. It's because I rarely don't finish books and it's hard to sort of pick them. A lot of the ones I've mentioned before in the very first question don't really fall into this category because it's like I didn't pick them up because of the hype of it, so that's why they're not falling into this question. But I read Gideon the Ninth and I could tell you nothing about that book. I'm putting it down as a DNF. I mean, I said I finished it, but I could not actually relay what the actual story was to you. I was very confused. I picked it up because the cover was cool and everyone told me it was fantastic. I think it was much too high level for me to even comprehend. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? I could not tell you. And I could probably not tell you any of the names of the characters either, nor what the actual plot is about. But to be fair, I did read it a bit ago now, but yeah, I don't think I knew what was going on the entire time. Number 15 in this tag is, what books did you DNF but you would like to give another try? And I think I would like most of all to give Divergent or the trilogy another go. I would like to give it another try. I think it is nearly as good as sort of other books in its sort of genre. It's like competitors. I think it's almost as good as Hunger Games, if not better. Oh my god, it's so much better than Maze Runner. That is a disaster trilogy. So I would like to give it another go. It's definitely a book I would have like really frothed, I think, around that time. I just don't think I had time for it at a younger age. But now that I have all the time in the world, I definitely think I should revisit it. Number 16 in this tag is, what new releases are you curious in but you lost interest in as well? I live under a rock when it comes to the book community. I feel like I only know what's going on when I go to a bookstore. I'm not interested in any new releases at this present time. Like, I feel like everything that we're sort of getting at the moment is like it's already been released and it's just sort of turned into a movie or a TV show at this point in time, which like I do get the hype to, like things like The Housemaid and like His and Hers. I've really bought into the hype of those. I've read both of them, but like recent releases, absolutely nothing. I am underwhelmed by what I've seen in the bookshop lately. And you know what? I like the under the rock vibe. Like, I like discovering things like on my own without like input from the book community or others. I like going out and doing that sort of thing. I don't tend to lose interest. It's more like, oh, that looks cool, and then just I forget about it because I have a brain like a fucking goldfish. Number 17 in this tag is, what classic books have you DNF'd? And I would love to say none, but I have DNF Finnegan's Wake. That is a terrible book. I couldn't tell you what happened in that one either. I had to have the book open, the audio book in the background, and I'm lost of what the point of that book was. I had people in uni, because that's when I read it, telling me it was fantastic. I'm like, this is rubbish. This is gibberish. I don't even know what's going on. Can you tell me what's going on? It's not even poetic. Like a lot of the other ones that I've read, like classics, at least they're poetic and nice, and I still don't know what's going on, but at least it's nice to listen to. Finnegan's Wake is not falling into that category. Absolutely not. Number 18 is, what book did you read and liked, but learnt of it through someone else's negative / DNF review of it. And I'm going to pick A Court of Silver Flames. Just because of Nesta, I liked her perspective, I liked her storytelling vibe, like through Nesta's eyes, and everyone hated it. I feel like everyone really didn't like that book in comparison to the others, and I felt like it offered a different perspective on the characters that we have grown to love. Like, it's a different perspective on them, and I really like it. I think I've spoken about this book and Nesta multiple times on the channel. I'm surprised I've not gotten cancelled for it, but I'm such a lowly YouTuber, I don't think anyone would ever know / care. But I like her as a character. She's the eldest daughter. There's a lot to like about that, because I am the eldest daughter, if that's not clear. I like her. I don't agree with like how the book has been written. I think the order of the kids is messed up. I think it should be Nesta, Feyre, then Elaine. Like, that makes a lot more sense to me. Why they baby Elaine so much as a middle child makes no sense to me, because I'm the middle child. I have an older brother and a younger sister, and I feel like Feyre taking charge and looking after, that's a very middle child vibe, and it's also very Libran. I would be surprised if that she doesn't fall there on the zodiac at all. Like, that sort of caretaker vibe of Feyre, like, and the middle child, like, it's very accurate to a middle child, like, characteristics, is to take the burden of the family. It's not so whatsoever in a baby to take care of the family, even though she sort of got spurred that from her mother when the mother died. I feel like there is still stuff we don't know about what the mother said to the others. I think it would be interesting to see what she told Nesta and what she told Elaine in that time too. But I do like Nesta's book. I think it offers different perspective. It shows that, like, Nesta is still in touch with that humid and vulnerable side of her. That is why I like it. I think she's an interesting character, and like I've said, I feel like I can name multiple other characters within that series that are shittier than Nesta. Like, Nesta is not the shittest character. Like, maybe she doesn't show up and isn't a very good sister, but there are reasons behind her character being the way she is. It's because she's, like, putting up these walls to protect herself, which so many people do, and like we see it in the series with other people doing the exact same thing. Nesta's just doing it in a very toxic way, which I think is sort of that human part of that's still in her, like, at her core, because like the trauma of what her and Elaine went through is like, you know, it's terrible. It's terrible what happened to them. They got turned into something that they didn't want to be. And I think people don't look at the core of what happened in that moment. They go, yeah, that's a shit thing, but it's just like, well, you know, we can look at it through the lens of like, yeah, it would be cool to be immortal and a fae and all this other stuff, and you look bloody drop dead gorgeous. But that's not what they wanted. They were perfectly content with their human life, and Nesta was perfectly content with the, you know, living not in the Fae land, not having to worry about a thing. And, you know, yeah, that says a lot about her character too. But like, she was more than happy to protect Elaine and look after Elaine that way. And then, like, you know, their whole world is in upheaval, and it's different. And it's weird that we accept Elaine's trauma response, but not Nesta's. Nesta's is loud and chaotic, and Elaine's is quiet, you know? It, like, you know, why are we accepting, you know, not women being bold and chaotic and a little bit crazy? We're accepting Elaine's, like, quietness and becoming a shell of herself, but not Nesta being out and about and a bit fucking crazy. And I feel like the resentment that Rhys has for Nesta is crazy to me, because it's like, it's not your trauma, Rhys. It's your mate's, but it's not your trauma. Like, I don't know how the mate bond or like how the marriage bond or any of that works, but it's just like, at the end of the day, you can't be mad. You can be mad for her, but you can't be mad for the trauma that, like, Feyre went through, because it's not your trauma. Like, it's not like an associated bond like that. Yes, like, we're looking at it through like maybe a modern day lens and not like a Fae lens and how that works, but I feel like that book opened up so much more into the other side of the characters and Nesta's perspective of Rhys and Feyre. And I think it also is interesting that we accept in one of the books when Tamlin locks Feyre away as wrong, but when Nesta gets locked away, that's not wrong because she's a problem. Anyway, that is my rant on it. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk on Nesta. We do like her here. I think it's hard because a lot of people say if you sympathize with Nesta, it's because you've been Nesta once in your life, and I think that's not fair. Like, it's not a fair comment, I don't think. I'm very passionate. I'll stand by that character and things she's been through, because, you know, I think at the end of the day, like, you know, we're all human, we make mistakes, and, you know, it's a bit hard to say that because they're fairies, but if you look at it like they're just human and like the core characteristics of them, I think it's easy to sort of sympathize with her. Number 19 in this tag is, what book did you DNF but you would think would work better in a different medium? Again, I have finished this book. I don't know why I've written it down, but hey, we break the rules here. But I think Yellowface would have been better as a movie than a book, or as a script or something. I think I had my issues with that book. I did not like it. I found, like, my moral compass in me is like, this would never happen. But I guess there's the shitty people in the world. And also I wanted it to end different. I wanted her to have some sort of, you know, punishment. I guess she kind of did. I was leaning towards, like, at the end when they were having this big fight, that the main character was just gonna die. And I think I would have been content with that ending, because it would have just felt like a full circle of, like, the person who wrote the book died, coming back around. Like, almost like a curse or something continuing. And I feel like I would have been content in that ending. But yes, I did not like that one. Anyway, guys, that's all I've got for you today. Please like, subscribe, because it's always nice. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.